Good morning. So our topic for today is about interpreting plans and drawings under crop production. So in this lesson, our objectives are number one, interpret plans and drawings. Number two, create plans and drawings. And number three, show value for plans and drawings. For this topic, farm plans and layouts, or what we call drawings, are as important as anything like farm inputs and requirements. So before embarking on farm crop production, a design has to be drawn according to type of crop grown and its arrangement. Considered to the planting system and practices, in planning a farm layout, several aspects of farming have to be considered. So this includes the first one, which is identifying lands that can be used for farming. Number two, planning crops to plant in the farm. Three, knowing the regulations and applying appropriate irrigation system. And now let's talk about the first one, which is the site assessment. So an ocular inspection needs to be done for an on-site assessment of the farm. A map can be drawn of the property topography, the boundary soil, and the water resources, etc. So then a business plan can be formulated. The next one is also about the government plan. So one must be acquainted with certain Philippine laws regarding use of lands in farming. So the Republic Act 8435, or what we call Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act, or AFMA, details the regulations in identifying areas that can be used for agriculture. Cooperate with the regional office or the Department of Agriculture to know if the property is suitable for farming. So consider the criteria used to include the land in a strategic agriculture and fisheries development zone. So what we call SAFTZ, listed in Section 6 of the AFMA. So these are number one, the agroclimatic and environmental conditions, giving the area a competitive advantage in the cultivation, culture, production, and processing of particular crops, animals, and aquatic products. Number two is strategic location of the area for the establishment of agriculture or fisheries infrastructure, industrial complexes, production, and processing zones. Number three is strategic location of the area for the market development and market networking, both at the local and international levels. And lastly, dominant presence of agrarian reform communities, or what we call ARCs, and or small owner cultivators and amortizing owners, agrarian reform beneficiaries, and other small farmers and fisherfolk in the area. Next is we will going to talk about the arrangement of crops in row planting. So in a farm layout, a planning the crops to a plant is a must to help make farming more efficient. So a common method of planting is a row planting. So wherein crops are planted in either single or multiple rows, whether in monocropping or multiple cropping. Row planting is preferred to maximize yields, and for convenience, planning how to crops are arranged in row planting. It depends on mainly on the topography of the land, which is what we call shape, terrain, and the slope. So irrigation lines and other physical barriers. So row planting is preferred over broadcasting or scatter planting because of the following reasons. So number one reason is the efficient photosynthesis and improved crop yield. Number two, an increase of gas exchange and prevention of excessive humidity. Number three, the ease of cultivation, weeding, howling, and other farm operation. And number four, the convenience and movement, which allows close inspections of individual plants. And the last but not the least is it enhances the visibility. So about row planting arrangement. So the common methods that we have are the following. So we have the first one, which is the hill method. So by the way, the crops planted in this method are arranged in equidistant single rows or in a multiple rows. So in monocropping, plants are usually arranged in single rows. So it depending on the crops, farmers use various system of planting arrangement. So the as I've said, the first one is the hill method. So hill methods, the crop are arranged in uniform distances, single or group. The next method is what we call the drill method, which is in this method, a uniform number of plants for linear meter is considered. And last method, we have the spatial arrangement. So this is for row planted fruit trees and other perennial crops like coconut oil, palm, and rubber. And it may be square, rectangular, quincunx, and triangular or hexagonal. So to understand more this type of layout, which is the square, rectangle, quincunx, and triangular or hexagonal, we will discuss this one first. So, but of course, let me discuss the types of planting. So we have three types of planting. So we have the ridge planting. So when you say ridge planting, so this is a system which is commonly used in large-scale garden plots and farms. And in this type of planting system, the soil is cultivated into ridges, but usually and tilled before planting. So we also have what we call the raised bed. So in the raised bed system or planting system, the plants are planted in the large boxes, which are usually made from bricks or wooden crates. So the raised beds are filled with rich compost, which makes it as an alternative to soil containing too much clay or sand. And the last one, we have the permaculture, which the planting system that emphasizes sustainable use of land and green gardening practices. So because the primary elements of permaculture garden includes the following. So we have the use of compost and mulch, which both increase soil fertility and discourage weed growth. And last, it is a noding planting system, which preserve soil structure and prevents damage to plants. So for the orchard layout, when you say layout, it is the positioning of the trees, the crops, drainage, water source, road, and the buildings in an area. So the advantage of having a layout or orchard layout are number one, a facility in its operations. Number two, preventions of possible problems that may arise. And lastly, maximizing planted areas and optimizing plant development and production. So there are systems of layout used in orchards. So the layout depends on the type of trees or plants or crops to be planted. Smaller crops required a shorter planting distance for from each other or from each planting compared with the larger canopy of the trees. So let's talk about the first system of layouting used in an orchard layout. So we have the square system. So when you say square system, this is the simplest layout where trees are planted in four corners of a square in the same distance between rows. So in this system, the drainage is simple and maintenance of crops like applying of fertilizers, waterings, weeding, and harvesting is easily done. So we follow the formula of computing the number of plants to be planted using the square system or square um, planting system. So the formula is the number of plant is equal to A divided by D times S, where A is the area, D is distance, and S is space. So let's have an example. So example, the given is our area is 1 hectare, distance is 4 meters, space is 4 meters. Take note that 1 hectare is equivalent to 10,000 square meters. So to substitute that for the solution, we have the number of trees is equal to 10,000 square meters because we already convert the 1 hectare to square meter. That is our area. And for the distance, we have 4 meter. For the space, we have 4 meter. So 10,000, 4 times 4, that is 16. So 10,000 divided by 16, the answer is 625 plants per hectare. Next system of layouting used in orchard, we have the King Kong's system. So in this is similar to a square system, only it has additional tree or crop in the center called filler. So the number of trees or crops is almost twice as much as the square system. So the filler plants or crops are planted among main crops. So example of the fillers are papaya and calamansi that can be planted along with mango and tamarind. So to estimate the number of trees to be planted using this system, we use the formula. The number of plants is equal to the A divided by distance times S plus R minus 1 and H minus 1, where A again is area, D is distance, S is space, R is row, and H is hill. So the equivalent of R is constant and hill is constant because 100 divided by 2, that is 50. So it is 50. R is 50 and hill is 50. So we have here an example. So for the area, we have 10,000 square meter again, or what we call 1 hectare. Distance, we have 2 meters, and space, we have 2 meters. So for the solution, we convert that or substitute. Number of plants is equal to 10,000 square meter. That is our area. And then divided by 2 meters, that is distance, and space 2 meter, and plus our row is 50 minus 1, so that is 49, and hill is 50 minus 1, that is 49. So 10,000 divided by 4, because 2 times 2 is 4, the answer is 2,500. Then 49 times 49, the answer is 2,401. So we add the two. So 2,500 plus 2,401, our number of plants is equal to 4,901 rather. So plants per hectare. So if you use King Kong system. Next system of layouting used in orchard is what we call the double row system. So for the double row system, we follow the formula, which is the number of plant is equal to A divided by D times S plus I divided by 2. 2 is constant, where I is interval. So let's have an example. Our area is 10,000 square meter. Distance is 2 meters, space is 2 meters, and the interval is 4 meters. So we substitute that. So number of plants is equal to 10,000 square meter divided by 2 meters, which is the distance, and the space is 2 meters plus the interval, which is 4 meters, divided by 2. First, we need to simplify the lower part. So which is 2 meters plus 4 meters, that is 6 meters, times 2 meters, that is 12 meters, divided by 2. um, our answer is 6 meter squared. So then cancel meter squared. So 10,000 divided by 6, our answer is 1,666.66 plants per hectare if you use double row system for layouting used in orchard. Next, we have the next system of layouting, which is called the double row system. For the double row system, um, the we use the formula number of plants is equal to square system plus 15%. So that is for the double row system. So when you like for example, we have our answer in the square system, which is 625 plants. So we just multiply it with the 15%. So 15% we need to convert that into decimal points. So that will become 0.15. So 625 plants times 0.15. Our answer is 93.75 plants. Ayan. Then the last one, we have the contour system. So normally in the contour system of layouting, it is done in land with elevated topography, such as slopes and hills. And this system can control erosions and can preserve nutrients of soil by conserving water. Okay, so let's talk about multiple row planting. So when you say multiple row planting, um, this is a system where crops are arranged in multiple rows or blocks. So the blocks can be allotted space in between, which may be planted with other crops. In this arrangement, more crops can be grown in the same piece of land. So, like for example, a coconut and other perennial crops are often intercrop with multiple rows of annual crops like corns and pineapple. So this is to maximize the use of the vacant interior spaces when the main crop has not fully developed, thus allowing sufficient light exposure. So in vegetable production, the common practice is to plant in plots having multiple rows, and the space between plots is provided by a passage rather. Next, we have the spatial or spatial arrangement and intercropping. So in spatial arrangement, it is a systematic apportioning of the farm area or any growing surface for crop production. So in multiple cropping by intercropping, the intercrop can be planted in any of the following. We have within the rows of the main crop. So the intercrop can be planted within the same row as the main crop, encouraging inter-row cultivation. So the disadvantage is that the intercrop will have less exposure to sunlight. Next, between the rows of the main crop. So the intercrop can be planted between rows of the main crop. If the main crop is corn, peanut, or mung bean, can be planted between two adjacent rows of crop. And last, replacement series. So in this method, one or two rows that are supposedly planted with the main crop can be replaced with the intercrop. Similar to this is a strip intercropping, which results in multiple row planting arrangement. So an example is growing 6 rows of corn and 12 rows of soybean at the same time in alternating strips. Okay, so next, let's talk about interpreting irrigation plan and design. So worldwide, about 70% of water use is in agriculture for irrigation. So the need for irrigation is greatly felt because of severe drought that affects large areas. So short periods within rainfall ruin crops and affect food production. So when you say irrigation, this is the application of water to the soil for the purpose of supplying the moisture essential to plant growth. It supplies water at a time when growing crops need it most. So it is therefore a more efficient way of supplying water to big farms. So several irrigation methods are available, and the selection of one depends on water availability, crop, soil characteristic, and land topography and associated cost. So the proper design of an irrigation system is based on the pumping system so that the pressure and flow rate are efficiently provided. So irrigation water management should determine the time to irrigate and the amount of water to supply. So the main management objective is to handle effectively the production system for profit, not discounting environment and water availability. And the irrigation scheduling, consider the irrigation method and other filed characteristic is one prime activity of management. Next, we have the functions of farm irrigation system. So One main function of farm irrigation system is to supply crops with irrigation water in the quantities and at the time it is necessary. So there is a specific functions which are as follows. Number one, diverting water from the water source. Number two, conveying it to individual fields within the farm. Number three, distributing it within each field. Number four, providing a means for measuring and regulating flows. Um, it also helps in controlling wind erosion, delaying development of fruit and bud, and cooling crop and soil. Tasks such as applying chemicals and waste and providing water for seed germination, which are made easier with this system. So the reasons for irrigation, an irrigation plan is important for the following reason. Number one, it enables the designer to lay out the irrigation system in the most cost-effective way. So the material list and the anticipated project costs are generated and evaluated respectively. Number two, it provides detailed information on system installation. So crop spacing, sprinklers, pumping requirements, pipeline sizes, and lengths are vital information to be included in the plan. So if roads, trees, gas, oil, the water, telephone, or transmission lines become obstructions, they ought to be stipulated. Next, it sets out specification design, standards, and work schedules as a basis of any contractual agreements between the installation contractor and the farmer. And last, it furnishes a record for future reference so it can be used for overall farm planning and expansion potential. So the essential features of a plan. So the irrigation plan must contain the following elements. So we have what we call the topographic data. So the field shape must be accurately drawn, showing pertinent obstructions, features, and elevation details. Next, we have the water source capacity. So the water supply must be clearly indicated, showing location and available capacity. Number three, major irrigation structures. The irrigation plan should be in consultation with the National Irrigation Administration or NIA. It is a branch of Department of Agriculture that is responsible for irrigation development in the Philippines. Number four, we have the soil and crop characteristics. So soil and crop limitations must be considered to reduce runoff and deep percolation because of mismanagement. Number five, the design's parameters. So soil water holding capacity, the maximum application rate, and the climate data should be used to select the correct irrigation system design. And last, we have the design data. So in this, the nozzle selected operating pressure, discharge rate, and sprinkler spacing ought to be in the plan. The irrigation interval set time, application rate, and net amount applied need to be calculated as well. So there are different designs of irrigation systems. So we have here the different the tables of the various designs of irrigation systems based on the standard procedure. So for the irrigation system, we have the types and the characteristic, and of course the picture. So for the irrigation system, the first one we have the surface irrigation. So when you say surface irrigation, it is the water is applied to the field in either the controlled or uncontrolled manner. So there are three types of surface irrigation. We have the furrow system, so furrow irrigation with siphons, and furrow irrigation by cutting the ridge. So the characteristics and consideration of these types: moisture in the root zone, application of non-erosive streams, use of a reuse cycle or a cutback stream, good land preparation, appropriate designs and experienced labor, use of machinery for land preparation, cultivation, farrowing, and harvesting, etc. And the next type under the surface irrigation, we have the border irrigation system. So for the characteristic, we have practice of controlled surface flooding, crops that can withstand flooding for a short time like wheat, soils between extremely high and very low infiltration rates, gradual application of water to the root zone, none or no runoff and deep percolation, and determination of right time to cut off the inflow. And the last type of surface irrigation is what we call the basin irrigation system. So for the characteristic of this system, ideal for irrigating rice, normally flat area, a very high stream size introduced for rapid movement of water, closure of the water inlet to avoid water loss in the pond, reduction of opportunity time difference between the upward and downward ends. Okay, the next type of irrigation system, we have what we call the drip or trickled irrigation. So for the characteristic of this system, the water is applied directly to the crop. Water is conserved. Weeds are controlled. There is a low pressure system. There is a slow rate of water application. There is reduced evaporation. And also, there is no need for drainage system. Next, the last irrigation system, we have what we call the sprinkler irrigation. So this system is ideal in areas where water is scarce. It conveys water through pipes and applies it with a minimum amount of losses. So the water is applied in the form of sprays, sometimes in stimulating natural rainfall. If it is well planned, designed, and operated, it can be used in sloping land to reduce erosions where other systems are not possible. So we have three types of sprinkler irrigation. The first one, we have the fully portable system. And the characteristic of this system is it is designed to be moved from one field to another or to other pumping sites that are in the same field. Next type is the semi-portable system. So the characteristic of this, the water source and pumping plant are fixed in locations. Other components can be moved. And last type, under the sprinkler irrigation, is what we call the fully permanent system. So the characteristic of this, it can be used in permanent on permanent irrigation fields and for relatively high value crops like orchards, and vineyards. So there are procedure for layout before we end our discussion, before I forgot to discuss. So we have three procedure for layout. The first one, procedure for the different systems. The first one is we need to measure the land, of course, okay, before we start layouting. Number two, decide the types of plant or trees to be planted. Then decide the planting distance and the system of planting that are we going to use, whether it is a square system, hexagonal system, double row system, rectangular system, contour system, whatsoever. And the last one, after you decide, um, you need to prepare now a plan on a paper marking and mark all the details. Okay, so that's the end of our discussion, which is all about interpreting plans and drawings under crop production. For the references of this discussion, for the disclaimer, I Agree by Sir Dan is an educational vlog. The purpose of this vlog is to provide free education to discuss lessons and clarify issues related to agriculture. The channel owner wishes to thank the trustworthy sources that have helped make this edu vlog possible. Any opinions or views shared in this vlog are also personal and belong to I Agree by Sir Dan. The views of any person that is directly or indirectly connected to the owner do not inherently represent them. In addition to that, any dependency you put on the material included herein is solely at your own risk. Finally, if you need more details or have questions, please feel free to contact the owner. And last, thank you for the following. or to the following: Tristan Laruan, Maurice Gravides, De La Salle University, of course, Bibal Publishing House and Corporation, and Don Bosco Press and Corporation. Thank you and goodbye.